Hey everyone, welcome back to the Rawhide Roundup. I'm your host, Heather Dallas, and we are back with another episode for our countdown to CattleCon. And on this episode, I am bringing in a fellow exhibitor. He is someone that we have gotten to know through our years at CattleCon. Very experienced, super friendly, one of the nicest guys. And I am very excited to welcome him to the podcast. So without further ado, please welcome Rob Fuchs from Strobel Manufacturing to the podcast.
Hey everybody, this is Rob with Strobel Manufacturing. Hopefully everyone's having a good day, having a good winter so far.
Yeah, I think so. I think the sun is finally shining in Kansas for us today. I don't know what it's like in Nebraska.
Pretty good here.
Yeah. So you are with Strobel, and my first CattleCon that I went to was a very eye-opening experience. There's a lot going on at these shows, but you guys and your Super Shade were right next to us, and I feel like Cassie and I both learned a lot from being next to you and being able to ask questions and talk about stuff. So today I'd like to just visit with you a little bit about Strobel and then just about your experiences with CattleCon. So why don't you go ahead and kind of let us know what you do with Strobel, and then we'll kind of talk about Strobel.
Sure. I've been with Strobel for 18 years. We are definitely in the egg market, cattle market. We have been in the cattle shade market for over 10, I think 12, 13 years now. We that's why we go to NCBA, primarily why we go to NCBA is to market the cattle shade. We have them in at least, I'm going to say 30 states throughout the country. Obviously, we kind of cover the cattle belt from, South Dakota through the Midwest, right down into Texas, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma. Um, we love going to NCBA. We've been going for 7, 8, probably this is our 7th, maybe 8th year already. Always had a good experience, a good turnout. And then Strobel Manufacturing's been around since, I think 1946. And then in addition to the cattle shades, we make scrape birds for both construction, but mostly for egg, actually for the small farmer on their, for whatever needs they have. And then we have seed tenders also. In the past, we've taken some of our other product to CattleCon. This last few years, we've just strictly taken our cattle shade to try to just promote that a little bit more and then talk about our other products as they come up.
Yeah, I know that's the shade. It shows really well at places like CattleCon because it stands out. But I know you guys, that's a lot of work for you to set that up. You guys have to get in pretty early, don't you?
Well, for me, not personally. For the team, yes. It is
Yeah, somebody.
the team, yeah. It's a little bit cumbersome to put up, especially at a show like that. A little bit of restriction, but the guys do a great job. Um, yeah, and it really kind of speaks volumes for itself. So
Yeah. And that's a big part for us is for people at CattleCon and any show to be able to like see the product up close and see exactly what you're getting. And I think it's impressive that you guys are able to get something like that in there
yeah,
and, let people get underneath it and realize just how big it is and how much it can
that's
help
really why
them.
we don't take our other equipment. Just we want to show the size of it. If you have other items beneath it, it's kind of like takes away. And then once we've opened up the space here, all these last 5, 6 years, it really catches people's attention. So
Yeah.
and
Did you have two last year? Like one by an entrance and one at your booth, or what was the story there?
we did. So we had an extra model, or we added a new model last year, 30 by 30, and that was at the entrance at San Antonio. And then we had one in the main exhibit hall, also a 40 by 40, and that's our biggest selling items, 40 by 40, and it was designed for the cattle industry. So
Yeah. Is that the biggest that it comes? Is the 40
that
by
is the
40?
biggest that we make is a 40 by
Yeah.
40. We have a couple other sizes, 20 by 20. That's kind of for the smaller acreages. Some cattle people will buy it depending on their facilities and what they need. And then 30 by 30s are also taken off. It just depends what the end user really has, how their yards are set up.
Yeah. We get the question a lot as exhibitors of, how many Corrals did you sell from the show? Are you guys kind of like us where you don't necessarily sell it right at the show, but you get the call later,
Yes.
down the road, or do you guys sell some of those from the show?
We do both. I imagine that's kind of a general consensus from since we've been going so many years. I would say that's a general consensus for most of the exhibitors in my conversations with them. We definitely have had sales out of there every year. We definitely get them as the summer rolls along. I'm sure we get sales because of NCBA that we maybe really can't identify depending who's calling in. But
Yeah.
the show is very strong, and I know, like, in your case with the I would assume it's similar for Rawhide and certainly your booth, very well put together, and I'm sure you have a lot of traffic through the NCBA crowd that comes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's been good. This year we're doing it a little different. We're bringing a Corral like we have, but we're bringing our model that has a loading chute built into it. No other portable. We've had some people kind of try to put their little spin-offs of Rawhide. And we're always trying to make sure people, look for the Rawhide. But this time we're doing the loading chute model and nobody else has done that.
Okay.
And so it'll be tall and kind of stick up. And I'm hoping, kind of like your shade is kind of eye grabbing. I'm hoping that that loading chute is a little bit of an eye grab as people walk around and, um, catch that. So we'll see.
Yep.
Um, Cassie and I talked in the podcast I did with her that you guys were the ones who, because we had not gone to the exhibitor summits or any of that stuff prior to when her and I first started coming together. And we saw you guys over there with these lead retrievals. You were scanning badges and getting information, and we were trying to write stuff down in a notebook. And you were the ones that we were like, okay, tell us about this. And we learned about that from you guys. And so we used it last year, and that was very helpful. Being able to quickly get their information, not drive them, it's hard to stop people and say, give me your number and your email. And they're used to people scanning their badge. So that's been a big game changer, I think, for us in the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's a really nice benefit with NCBA. The people that come are very willing to talk to the exhibitors and to have that option to scan. It just saves everyone a lot of time and the information's good for both parties. And a lot of times at that point, the NCBA person that's counting the cattle people, they have no issues with you following up, calling, because they know that
Yeah.
at the exhibitor we're there for a reason, and
Yeah.
so are they. So no one's, everyone's using their time in a valuable way.
Sure. So talking CattleCon, I know you've been doing this a lot longer. Um, do you have a favorite location? Like, it's moved around every year. Was there a place that you enjoyed more than others as an exhibitor?
Actually, I think Nashville will be a lot of fun. I think that's a good destination. Um, this time of year, San Antonio probably would be a little bit more fun just due to the weather, but hopefully it all goes well in Nashville. NCBA does a great job of picking the venues, and there's about 5 venues that they go to, 5 cities. So yeah, it's all good. And for me, in my particular case, I don't think I'd been to and I think I'd been to Nashville, but I don't think I'd have been to New Orleans or San Antonio until NCBA. So yeah,
Yeah.
they do an excellent job on picking the venues.
Yeah. I think that's exciting and Lindsay and I were talking, Lindsay Clark with CattleCon, NCBA. Her and I were visiting about just the back to back with going to Nashville twice. And at first, you would kind of think that it wouldn't be a good thing, but the more I think about it, I think that it might be nice for everybody to have some familiarity coming back. And,
Yeah.
you're going to have different speakers and different, things that NCBA is putting on. And they'll probably, change different events and stuff. So turnout should be pretty good still, I would assume.
Oh, I think it'll be more than fine. I mean, NCBA is, to me, a very important show for our company. I think it is for probably all exhibitors, and the attendees are very focused when they go there. So, and the familiarity will be a huge thing. It is nice to
Yeah,
know
I think
what
so.
you're getting into next year.
Yeah. So you and I were together at the exhibitor summit that,
Yeah.
they allow us to come out beforehand and look at hotels and different venues and planning and get to see the trade show floor. Have you done that every year or have
I
you, is
think
this your first
we
time?
have been represented. I think this is our 7th or 8th year, and I've gone to 6 or 7 of the exhibitor summits, and definitely well worth it. It really gives a lot of insight and a lot of value that if companies choose to expand just a little bit, we can jump on a lot of what NCBA is providing, which will just help us market ourselves prior to the show and even during the show.
Yeah, I thought it was very beneficial, just listening to the presentations from Jefferson Davis on trade show, how to visit with folks, how to get the most out of your event. And I think back to when we went before learning some of this stuff, it's a game changer on getting the results you want out of the investment.
Especially how the show ends or how that week ends for the exhibitors for the summit. It's just nice having that panel. We have the um experienced cattle producers along with some others on the panel. They're very they have excellent comments, have been going for years. They tell exhibitors what they want to see from us. So I think that's a valuable tool that, every exhibitor there could think about going to the summit every year. And I think it would definitely
Oh,
provide
yeah.
value for Strobel Manufacturing.
Oh, I loved it. I took so much from it. And then, moving forward, that producer panel, um, I've kind of talked in some of the other podcasts, but, I was trying to figure out how to involve an artist, like somebody, a musician, and maybe do, an event or something. And I kind of had the idea, maybe I just have him play at the show at our booth, like on that opening afternoon, but I didn't know how it would come across, if people would see that as like a distraction or too much. And so I asked that at that producer panel, and overwhelmingly they were like, "Well, is he good?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, he's good." Um, and so they're like, "Yeah, I think that would benefit." So that gave me the confidence to go forward with an idea. Before hearing them, I don't know that I would have pursued it without having that panel to talk through it with. And
Right. It's just so much easier to know that when you get the feedback, it just helps you make decisions as a company instead of kind of trying to maneuver on your own and then trial and error. In this case, from what you just said, they're telling you basically what to do. So, it will be a
yeah,
solid response.
yeah, I'm excited. I know you and I were talking before we hit record about our locations. We got split up this year.
Right.
We went from being next to you to kind of close to we're like on opposite sides of the trade show floor. So at some point we'll have to visit and say hi.
Yeah.
Um, I did just see on social media, they were advertising the moonshine. I can't remember what they're calling it, but there's like a moonshine bar, lounge, something, and it is right next to us. So,
Well,
I
you'll have
think that
most of the attendees showing up over in that area.
I know. So when Scott is playing, he's gonna play that first afternoon when everybody's coming in and just socializing, and so having that right there, I'm like, "This is good. It's
Yep.
a good
That'll be a
spot."
good vibe.
Yeah. Um, we've talked kind of about CattleCon and some Strobel stuff. Did you grow up in ag? Did you always kind of know would be a job like what you would be doing, or what's your background?
So I did grow up in ag. I grew up in Northeast Nebraska, grew up on a very typical farm in those days, 40 plus years ago. Row crop, some cattle, finished some hogs, went to college, got a 4 year degree in business, started for a company in the local area, Northeast Nebraska, out of Columbus, Nebraska. I've stayed there a long time. Then I went to work for um, construction ag industry. Built a lot of hog confinements throughout Northeast Nebraska, kind of in the Midwest, and then been with Strobel Manufacturing for 20 years. So yeah, I've always kind of wanted to stay in ag and been a great fit. Strobel's a great company to work for. Um, and yeah, I mean, ag, that's what the Midwest does. Kansas, Nebraska, you know, supports the country and the world in a lot of different ways.
Oh, sure. That's the musician that we have. I did his podcast. Um, prior, and he's from Seward, Nebraska.
Oh, cool.
And we were talking about just the Midwest, like that's kind of his, he pulls a lot of his music, he writes everything, and it kind of comes from the Midwest. And he has a song, Cattleman's Call. But we were just talking about how that's our people, we all,
Yeah.
we have customers everywhere, but the bulk of it is this Midwest group and where the cows are.
Yep. Wow. There again, it just kind of shows you how small the world is. I mean, somebody from Seward, Nebraska, I grew up, an hour from there. So,
Oh, really? That's
yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his dad was a veterinarian, and they had a small ranch, KAW Red Angus. But anyways, his mom does like the 4-H stuff. His brother just became a veterinarian. So
Nice.
very small world. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to use him. So he was a baseball coach at Hutch Community College, where my husband's the football coach,
Okay.
and started his career, took off to Nashville. And so we kind of had the inside scoop on him long before. But I thought, what better place for CattleCon? Like, he actually grew up in this, and it's a good place to showcase him. So
Nice.
you'll have to, I'm gonna have him come to the, what is it, like the B2B social? Are you guys
Yeah.
going to that on Monday night?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm sure we'll
we'll
be
be
there.
there.
I'm sure our team will show up for that. Yeah.
I know. I was telling Lindsay, I kind of look forward to that as much as everything else, because it's just nice for all of us to visit before the chaos. It's like
Yes.
our little relaxing night before you just
All the work's
put in the
done,
time.
and you got work in front of you, but at least you can sit back and enjoy it a little bit and relax.
Yeah, we're all getting ready to do the same thing, all the exhibitors. But he's going to come do some sound check stuff, and so I think I'm going to bring him to that so you guys can all meet him there before
Nice.
the show.
Look
Yeah,
forward
you
to
guys
it.
can talk about Nebraska.
Yeah. I'm sure we will. We like to talk about Husker football, but we just haven't been that on top of our game in recent times.
It all goes around. You never know. You guys had your Nebraska football, had one of our players, one of my husband's players from Hutch. I don't know if you and I had talked about that.
I
I
don't
think it
think
was
so.
Singleton. He was a defensive player, and I'll say the wrong position if I try to say it, but he had gotten hurt and came back, but he did pretty well for you guys this year. So
Yeah, I know
we
the
try to,
no, I didn't realize he was playing for your husband at one point.
yep, yep.
Very
We
nice.
were we were his junior college, so it's fun to see where his guys kind of end up and try
Yeah.
to follow along. And we're so busy in the fall, but if some of them play in these schools that have like Thursday night games on TV and stuff, and so we try and pull them up and watch them when we can.
Right.
So, yep,
Nice.
I know. All right. Well, I think that's the most of kind of what I wanted to visit with you about. I've enjoyed getting to know you, and I got to meet your wife at the summit. And I know we look forward to seeing you guys every year. And that's just one thing I think CattleCon has brought for us, is just some of those connections and getting to know people. And you and I don't have to compete, for customers.
Right. That
We
helps.
have a lot of
Maybe
we
not.
have a lot of similar customers, I'm sure. There's some people at CattleCon I may not be as friendly with, but I can be friendly
Yeah.
with you. Um, but no, it's fun. We look forward to it every year. Do you do any other shows yourself, or you
We
go
do
to a
a
show?
handful of other ones. We do Husker Harvest Days, and then we do some other, a little bit smaller venues throughout the Midwest. But NCBA is definitely our NCBA and Husker Harvest Days are our two primary ones that we go to. And we also look forward to returning every year. The relationships we built as friendships and just different people that you meet. It's interesting. We've been there as long as we have, that you end up really knowing an awful lot of people pretty darn
Oh
quick, but
yeah.
you get to know them pretty well because you hang out with them for off and on for a week. So
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I've enjoyed it. It's been fun. And it's hard to believe that today is 2 weeks. I
yeah,
mean, you and I are filming. This won't come out right away, so we're filming it on a day that it's 2 weeks away.
yeah,
So, exciting. All right. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it,
sure.
and I look forward to seeing you guys very soon.
Sounds very good. Thanks, Heather.